Okay, so sorry this took forever. My Cintiq was broken. I couldn't do anything about it, and then I fixed it, and then I had my exams, and like I was busy. But anyways, I'm gonna do this now. And the first thing I want to say is I really like this. I like Taako. I like all these color choices that you made. I like the concept. It's very cool. Anyways, so the first thing I would suggest is it's a bit claustrophobic right now. It's a bit of a tight crop. This is, of course, opinion-based, but I feel like he'll look better if he'll float in a bit more space. So, not that much. So just like extend it a little bit. I just made it like 1000 x 1200 here, so I did not do much, just a little bit. And then the second thing I noticed is it doesn't have a very clear silhouette, which means in general it won't read well when it's smaller. So if you see here, this is what the silhouette looks like. It could be anything, honestly. It's clearly a guy, but it's a guy behind something, wearing something, you know? It's not that clear. It could also be multiple guys. You know, you get the point. I'm not going to berate your drawing or anything. So, the silhouette isn't very clear. And the reason for this is that you haven't really drawn through it. Which means, if you look here, you'll see that his torso seems to stop about here. That seems to be what you drew first. And then he has these long arms, which don't really relate to his torso. And then he has these legs, which I assume you just drew behind the umbrella. Because you drew the umbrella first, that's what it looks like. Which vary in length very much. So it's like you're missing a lot because you drew this umbrella first and then you didn't draw the stuff behind the umbrella. Always draw the stuff behind things. Unless you're trying to save time, like you're drawing a comic or something. But that's a secret. Shh, don't do that. You always draw through things. So there are many things you could do to make this silhouette a bit more clear. And I'm just gonna move the boy over here so I have more space. And for example, you could, so we start with his head here, right? And then we have his body. His shoulders are kind of crunched up. I like that. So we have his chest piece right here, right? And then what you could have done is you could have curved his body over here, which then immediately gives you way more space to do what you want to do. And then you could like extend this leg out instead of having both legs facing the side. And then you have his arm come down this direction instead, like that. He's holding the umbrella, and then he's holding the umbrella over here. And suddenly you have a much clearer silhouette. At the same time, you could also like have his arm extend over here. There's so many things you could do to make this a clear read, and that is super important. You could also make it clearer that it's an umbrella by doing, you know, a very clear umbrella shape, but I don't think that's as necessary. I think the shape that you had is cool and it works, so ignore that. I'm just saying this is an option. It's an option that you could make. So, back to this. Another thing that I noticed is that, first of all, he's not really looking at the camera. I noticed that just now. So you can have him look, wrong layer. New layer. Right, so now he's looking at us instead. It adds intensity, and it makes you not, like, the only reason to have him look this way is because there's somebody over here. So if this drawing was extended and there was somebody over there, totally have him look that direction. Otherwise, you should probably look at us because it adds intensity to the drawing that he's looking at us. But the thing that I was actually going to say is you could add a lot of depth by adding some contrast to your coloring. Adding some like focus points, because right now everything's in focus at the same time. Everything is in focus, and that makes it kind of flat. So what you could do about that is you could, for example, decide that the umbrella is the focus, right? So then you add some big highlights here. Some big ass highlights. Of course, I would do things way more subtle if I was actually gonna do it. But you know, I'm just trying to illustrate a point. So now the umbrella pops more. There's a foreground and there's a background. The foreground being the umbrella, the background being the rest. And you could do this further by adding some shadows that are like more intense. Again, sorry for cursing. I didn't mean to do that. That is not very intense at all. That works. Right, so now this is pushed to the back. And at the same time, you could also add more highlights if you wanted to. You could like put a little bit of focus on the hand over here. Like that. Put some focus on this side of his face, maybe on his eyes. Not his eyes, that did not work at all. But yeah. His nose, push that a little bit forward. Make this arm a bit more prominent by putting like a stronger highlight there. Put it on this side of the hat. Like there's so much you can do to just push it a little bit. Just a little bit. So now you have some focus points instead of just having a flat mass. Anyways, that's what I had to say. I'm sorry again that it took so long, but I hope that it's helpful. So, yeah, great drawing. Like it.